This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? How do they do that? Well, Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things travel finance, like which travel cards earn their keep and which are just heavy, shiny metal, and planning group trips that won't ruin your budget or your friendships. So travel smarter and spend less. That's the key with help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts. Armchair-Explorer is a part of the Voyescape podcast network. Check out all of their shows from around the world at voyescape.com. Welcome back to the Hidden Trails of Oregon. Now, we've already done our full boots on the ground episode of the Pendleton Roundup. Go back and check that out if you haven't already. It is a wild one. But today we're staying here a bit longer to zoom in on a conversation that went so much further than the scope of that episode. You'll remember we met Butch Knowles and Pat Nogle, two rodeo legends with a collection of championship buckles between them. They're also old friends that have seen, as you can imagine, quite a lot in their decades here. It's part buddy comedy, part their own stories growing up at the Roundup, a surprising amount of Yellowstone references if you follow that show. They're basically the real-world version of those characters, but it's also a deep reflection on what Western culture really means to actual cowboys like them and to the 50,000 fans that come to Pendleton every September.
Oh, hey, Butch. I'm Aaron.
Pat's friend. How are you?
Great. Good to meet you.
Butch was inspired by radio broadcasts of rodeos as a kid on his family ranch. He started riding calves in the 7th grade, and by high school, he was collecting regional titles, now upgraded to bulls and saddle broncs. In college and his career beyond, it'd be quicker to say where he didn't take home medals, but highlights are the National Finals Rodeo and even the gold-winning U.S. Olympic team in 1988. Butch retired from competition in 1991 with his last title won here at Pendleton, but he'd already taken up broadcasting with the NFR and would stay in the booth for decades, becoming one of the most well-known voices of professional rodeo worldwide, to which I say, finally, something I can understand. Saddle broncs, never met him, one-on-one with a microphone. Now you're speaking my language. But unlike me, Butch was inducted to the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame for Lifetime Achievement in 2023.
We college rodeo together. We started our whole careers together.
Really?
High school rodeo, college rodeo.
Pat grew up on his family's ranch in Grass Valley, Oregon. He took up rodeo in high school and quickly won multiple state championships in his wild chosen category, bulldogging, or to translate, steer wrestling. Pat ranked second in the nation for 3 years in college and afterwards made a habit of collecting medals throughout the Northwest, where he stayed to focus on his family. He competed and won at Pendleton for 40 years and still holds unbeaten records to this day. While we were at the Roundup recording our episode, Pat was inducted into the Pendleton Hall of Fame, and he was absolutely glowing about it when we found him. We pulled the two of them out of the grandstands and into the quietest spot we could find at the Roundup, which ended up being a storage room for kegs and liquor. And here's our conversation, presented raw and real in the spirit of Pendleton itself.
Well, try not to drink all the whiskey.
We've been looking for this room all time.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Two legends in the room together, and good friends are here too. So, both of you one-on-one rodeo against each other. Who's winning?
Well, luckily I didn't do the same events because he would have kicked my butt. But I just steer wrestled and the timed events, which he did do in college. Yeah. But then he branched out and got famous riding the rough stock, or which would be bucking horses, bulls.
What is that like? We watched the Extreme Bull final, and I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing some of the time there. I don't know how you hold on.
It's crazy. And it's evolved. When I rode bulls, they were bulls, but they weren't like the bulls these kids get on today. I mean, it's just a step above everything. I don't know how they ride any of them. I'm just like you. I went to the Extreme Bulls, and I wondered how they ride any of them as well, and they do. That's how athletic and good these kids are. But it's an adrenaline rush that you can't find anywhere else. When that gate comes open, it's like, oh my God, there's no turning back now. and then when you ride one and actually went on him, it's even better. It's hard to learn, but once you learn it, everybody thinks it's very dangerous, and there are some things that are dangerous in all of the events, but. Once you kind of learn, you're kind of in control of a lot of situations. Even like, you saw yesterday, some of the stock went down in the slick grass. And it's amazing the adrenaline when it takes over, how it slows everything down. And you can think through that process. And I loved it.
That's so cool. And I wanted to ask Pat as well, like, what does it feel like to be in the arena competing some of these events? Or is it too fast and you just can't even remember what happened?
Well, I always say, I can hold my breath for 5 seconds because but actually it's, you're practicing this since you were 15 years old, and it's kind of reflexes kind of takes over. But you have 3 animals involved in the stair wrestling, so you got to be able to read your animal, because sometimes they'll stop, sometimes they'll move, and you have to move your horse over. I did it a lot young, of course, but when I got older, it was kind of a release from your everyday job, a ranching job. You had a little time to just concentrate and trying to win in the arena, and didn't have to worry about the price of cattle or the price of this or that. It was kind of a release. Yeah, you got in there and you were zoned in for whatever your event, and I enjoyed it that way too, as much as when I was young. Of course, it was the women and the whiskey,
So, I wanted to ask you guys, I don't know if you have any tips, but why are cowboys so cool anyway? You just got all the girls.
Well, we're both married, so it's
We weren't cool. No, Pat Nogle. I remember, I do really remember, and I think of it every year when I drive in here. When I was in high school, I won the National High School All-Around Championship, and at that time they gave a car to the all-around boy and the all-around girl. So I had a Dodge. It was a Dodge Colt. It was pretty cool, but it wasn't very big. It was a car. I'll give them that. But there was no radio, no heater, there were seats and an engine. But I was coming off the hill in my Dodge Colt the first time I ever entered here at the Roundup. I was 18 years old and drove into here, and I'd always heard about the Pendleton Roundup, and it's just iconic. There were 3 rodeos that really people talked about: Cheyenne, Frontier Days, Calgary Stampede, and of course Pendleton. And so those were the 3 that were on our bucket lists. And I was driving off that hill thinking, I've made it. I've made it. Oh my God, it was crazy, and it was so much fun.
Sunset in your new car.
Yeah, there I was, 18, I didn't have a clue about life at all. But all I knew is I entered the Pendleton Roundup. We actually, the high school I went to, we played them in football, Redmond and Pendleton had a heck of a team. They were mean and they were good, and they killed us. I mean, this is how bad it was. Our meanest man on our team when we were getting off the bus was crying, and that was before the game. And so I thought, this may not go well. But I sat, and we were in the arena there, and our bench was right over in front of the buck and shoots, and of course, I was hooked on rodeo. That's all I thought about. And I just looked at the arena and looked at those chutes and just thought, I want to ride here. This is where I want to be. And so that year I came off, and then I went on, and luckily, like Pat, I had some real success in this arena. I won it 2 different times, and it's just always been a favorite rodeo of mine.
Yeah. What sets it apart? What makes Pendleton special and different?
I think the proximity of where we live is a lot of it, because, we both live here in Eastern Oregon. As Butch, I came here as a little chubby 12-year-old, and they'd let you sneak on the grass and watch the events, and I thought, God, that's what I want to be, and have such a reputation that this is what you want to do.
So, win any cars here over the years?
I didn't win any cars. Heck, they didn't give me a buckle.
I'll be honest about the car deal. They only did it one time, and then they realized we don't give 18-year-old kids free cars.
That's probably why.
The reputation where the car had been and what it had done, they thought, let's not do this again. The first year I won, I was about the third year of rodeo, and plus they give me enough money to go to my first national finals rodeo too. What really tortures, for me, because hunting season's rolling around now, and Butch too, if you don't have enough money after Pendleton, you got to leave hunting season and go down south and rodeo, because there was still a few left to get more money trying to make the national finals. So, boy, when you got it made and you can go back and oil up your gun and don't have to go to Dallas, Texas or somewhere and nothing against Dallas, but I just didn't be hunting, is be down there sweating in the humidity.
So as soon as you make enough money for hunting, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
A lot of money.
Good.
I love it. That sounds like a real cowboy attitude to me. And, you know, there is something I always think, too, that the rodeo is like the epitome of the West for a lot of people, you know. And I think that all around the world, even people that haven't experienced something like this or come somewhere like this, there's something about the West, there's like an allure to it that everyone feels. Do you guys have a sense of why that might be?
Well, you really, you know, I totally agree with you, and you really see it at Pendleton for some reason. I mean, it's just the whole letterbuck spirit that they've built this rodeo around, and the rodeo conditions here are way different than they are at normal rodeos. You know, a normal rodeo is a dirt arena. The head start, which we call the score, the head start in the timed events is short, so it's a real quick, fast thing. And when you come to Pendleton or Cheyenne or Salinas, for example, and Pat's event, especially in the steer wrestling, the head start they allow the animals is it's a mile compared to everywhere else. So you are going as fast as you can. You're out on the grass. That's a little more unpredictable. Horses, steers. I mean, it's a whole different deal. And you see a lot of guys. There's a lot of good guys that I don't think they have the courage to come here. Put it that way. It takes a lot to be a steer wrestler here at the Pendleton Roundup, and then to win it like that. That's a big feather in your hat. It really is. It's not easy to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Pat? Did you have a sense of the West, even beyond the rodeo, I guess? Like, there's something just special about it.
You know, Butch and I grew up in it, so kind of flattered to see, like, when people come to Roundup, everybody has cowboy boots, cowboy hats, you know, and you think, boy, if they seen what we seen. When you're out there on your horse gathering cows, Butch has a ranch also, and you're by yourself, you know, and you have good dogs and a good horse, and the cows are behaving, you think, you know, glad everybody didn't know about this, or we'd be out of job. Everybody would be wanting to do this. But, you know, and the Westerns didn't hurt anyway, you know, they kind of glorified things. But then there's the other side, too, when it's winter and the snow's 3 feet deep and you're feeding that hungry cow, and then nobody'd want the job. But
you know, it makes me think, too, that a lot of these events are like real authentic working things that you would do around the ranch, right? And that's so different than another professional sport, right? Where there's something in that's kind of authentic and real. You guys are the real deal, you know?
It's very unique. It's not like any other sport to begin with. And you're right. These things actually started and evolved from ranching and different experiences. And so they molded it into a sport, and that's just out of cowboy try. And you don't see that. You know, you can name any other sport, basketball, football, whatever. You know, it just isn't that way. So, you know, when talk about ranches, and I have a ranch, Pat has a ranch, and Pat's ranch, actually, the people that watch Yellowstone, that's a lot like his place.
he runs more cattle than I do.
That's exactly like Yellowstone.
Oh, geez, yeah, you go there and he's got a Beth Dutton and the whole works going on. Don't tell Mary I said
I'm not saying.
Do you still have that old car somewhere? The first car you won?
No, believe it or not, I wrecked it. I know.
I think it's an aspen jumping trees. Did it show up there?
We tried that. But one thing, when I took it to college, our big goal was if we could drive on the sidewalk the whole way home, because it wasn't very big. And we did accomplish that a few times.
That's so great. That's so great.
Cowboys in college, they, I don't know, it was kind of a bad mix. I think it's evolved a little bit, but we thought it was rodeo and have a good time.
It was fun.
And looking back, realized I should have went to speech class more often than I did.
Well, I'm looking at you two guys, and I'm like, I think you guys have some good college stories. That's another show. But so just one last question, and it kind of goes back to that sense of being out on the ranch. Like, this is something that is like a party, and it's a celebration, and there's lights and there's music. But then a lot of the time, right, there's those quieter moments too. And I think that's probably a big part of what it is to be a cowboy too, and a rancher. And so many people that maybe live in a city or don't really know what that feels like to have that much space, that much sky above you, you know, and it's a kind of special feeling.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. So the Roundup started on Saturday with the concert, and then Sunday is the Hall of Fame dinner that Pat did. And then Monday, you know, the rodeo started. There was slack and going, but I had to go to the mountains and ride some country to clean up some cattle. And so I just took Monday and I just went up by myself. I came over here and did a couple things, and then I went up to the mountains, and I was riding down a creek, and it was just about 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm just getting, and I thought exactly what you're talking about. It was just absolutely beautiful. It was quiet, it was just me and my horse and a dog, and elk were bugling. And you got to love ranching to be a rancher, because it's not an easy task. But if you love it, there's nothing better. And then we got to compete at rodeos like Cheyenne and Calgary and Pendleton and all the biggest, the NFR, and have success and compete at that high level. And the friends that we've made, Pat and I have known each other since we've been about 12 years old, and been very close friends all those years. And you can't take that for granted. To me, there's nothing better. We've had a great life.
That's amazing. Well, you guys are both legends, and it's been an honor to speak to you. So thank you so much. I know you got to get back out there and check out some of this rodeo, so thank you so much.
Yeah, he's got to go sign autographs.
Don't walk with him. He's so slow. Everybody's stopping him all the way.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much to Butch and Pat for taking the time to speak with us in the middle of everything else happening at the Roundup. And a special thank you to Greg and Petra for setting this all up. We cannot wait to come back to Pendleton. This may be our last episode in Eastern Oregon, for now at least, but there'll be more to come. So hit that subscribe button and follow us wherever you get your shows. You're not going to want to miss any of this. This series was produced by Armchair Productions, the audio experts for the travel industry. Find out more at armchair-productions.com. Brian Thacker led our pre-production, Charles Tyree assisted on audio editing, and the episode was recorded by Jason Patton, who also wrote and co-produced it along with me, your host, Aaron Miller. I'll see you next time.
Quick question. Do you want travel tips from people who have actually been there?
Our show is co-hosted by Tim Johnson, an award-winning travel journalist who's been to more than 145 countries around the world. And I'm David Brody, the other co-host who's been travel podcasting for 20 years while traveling to 50-plus countries around the world.
In about 10 or 20 minutes per show, we break down a destination with the kind of insight you usually only get from long guidebooks or hours of research.
So if you want expert advice, zero fluff, and travel inspiration that you can actually use, search for Travel in 10 wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can also find us at voyescape.com.
Hi, I'm Pauline Fromer, host of the Fromers Travel Podcast. We post new episodes weekly, detailing the kinds of money-saving tips and cultural insights that will make your trips richer without making you significantly poorer. We do so by interviewing real travel experts like TV host Samantha Brown, Fromers authors from around the globe, and such public figures as Free Solo's Alex Honnold. It's a fun travel party. I hope you can join us.